is actor James Earl Jones, who now adds another title to his credits, author, along with his biographer, Penny Niven. He has written an enlightening book about his life entitled Voices and Silences. And you are part African, Cherokee, Choctaw, and Irish. I wonder, you know, with all of that blood running in you, what kind of personality does that create?
I really believe that they are in conflict, you know, and they always have been, these different genetic energies and spiritual energies. And it's a wonderful conflict. They're in conflict over who should dominate, you know.
But being a great voice that you are, and people recognize this voice, it's hard to believe that someone like you, that's been such a giant in the theatrical world, that you didn't come up around the theatrical world. Now I'm reading your book, which is very fascinating. You were raised on a farm. You're talking about somebody who milked cows, raising chickens, plowing the field. How do you account for the kind of beginning you had and the kind of influence? What was that experience like?
I don't know how to account. I think that kind of life gives you a good balance for whatever you want.
Appreciation for nature?
It is appreciation for nature. Just living on a farm is appreciation for nature.
How has it shaped who you are today?
I think it's given me whatever balance I have, both psychological, mental.
When you look at that, do you see that as something in terms of the kind of work that you did? You were raised by your grandparents. Why were you raised by them? I
was adopted by them, technically. My mother and father had a bad marriage. In fact, it broke up before I was even born. So I was raised by her people.
One of the things.
His name was John Henry Connolly, and her name, Mama, was named Maggie Connolly. You know. You said in the book that your grandfather was a very fair man, and a guy that when you had to be punished, one of the things I like, it reminds me of my mother, is that he would have you go get a switch or a branch, that you would go, when you did something wrong, go out and you get a switch or a branch and bring it back. Yeah. I mean, that's horrible. You know, when parents say, go bring me a switch. You know, I mean, when I came back, I tried to find the smallest little switch I could get. Were you urban or rural? I lived in Miami, Florida. So urban. Urban. Yes. But there were switches, there were trees around. Yes, yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah. Did you go out and get a big switch or a small switch? I had the task only 3 times in my life. I was only punished that way 3 times, you know. You were a good person. You were a good boy. No, he was a good person. Okay. he was a fair judge. You got your first big break in the Great White Hope, which you won a Tony. What else did that mean to you? For me, the Great White Hope put me in an orbit, put the star in an orbit. It didn't change life for me. I knew what I could do, but that made it relative to the public, I think. I mean, for instance, the picture was on Newsweek, which appeared all over the world. I mean, so suddenly I became a known entity rather than... That's all. But, you know, when you think about... It doesn't help your acting at all. Yeah. Oh. If you had to select 5 of your best of what you've done, what would those 5 be? It's easy to find 5 on the stage. Busman and Lena, Of Mice and Men, Great White Hope, Fences. It's harder in film, and when I relate to the film, it's always the simple movies, like Matewan, Field of Dreams. They're very simple stories, are the ones that I feel achieve something in film. You know, you mentioned... I mean, I enjoyed coming to America, but that was not relevant to me, you know. It was relevant to Eddie, or to Art Buchwald. Right. Now, you mentioned that you don't just select projects based upon the material, but you like to work with certain people. Why is that? I also like to make money, you know. Having started out in the theater, I have a tradition of going broke every 2 years, and that is what theater actors do. There's no way to sustain a wallet that has anything in it. So having come to the screen recently, that's always been a problem. And I've taken jobs to pay the bills. I've gone to Mexico and worked with Ron Ely and Tarzan a lot of times just to pay the bills. The last time I did it, though, I had a chance to sing with the Supremes because they were also down there paying the bills. Paying the bills as well. Yes. Okay. They were desperate if they had you singing with them. Well, you selected 3 of your best actors who impressed you most. I know that's kind of difficult. Who would you select just off the top? Marlon Brando and Marlon Brando. Is that right? Josie Scott see anybody, they're important to me, partly because they're kind of friends, but Marlon Brando.
Any new African-American actors that fascinate you, that show a great deal of potential?
Forrest Whitaker. I mean, you got a bunch of them. Larry Fishburne. I mean, yeah, it's a whole exciting crop. And
when people see you out, what character? Okay. What character do they identify you as? I can see people saying, "You look like Alex Haley."
Oh, that happens still in airports. People who forget that Alex died recently, would insist that I sign Alex Haley as an autograph.
Whoa. But what about the characters that you played?
That's not an accident. Alex Haley is also part African, part Cherokee, and part Irish, and comes from a very similar part of the country where I was raised. So the genetic is very thick there. So we do resemble. He once referred to me as a man a foot taller and not quite as handsome as he was. But I was qualified to play his role in Roots, yeah.
When we come back, we're going to find out about how this great voice of our time was lost for several years, right after these words.
Coming September 24th, they have the drive.
I'm gonna bust your gun open and watch you die!
They have the talent.
You gonna lead us to the promised land? No, they never mentioned this during recruiting.
And they'll have to work together.
What's your assignment?
Kill everybody. I tore him out.
To survive. The program, rated R.
If your day-to-day routine sometimes makes your life seem less than exciting, maybe it's time for you to get a shot of glamour. Come to Glamour Shots. You can get a great makeover, 15 poses, beautiful Glamour Shots portraits, and 2 gloriously fun hours of being treated like a star. Glamour Shots, it's more than just photography.
This week, call with a friend and make 2 appointments for half price, just $14.95 each. Glamour Shots, it's more than just photography.
Glamour Shots. And now the truth behind the invention of IHOP's new country griddle cakes. 7:10 a.m. Cliff, in a misguided attempt to make a hearty country breakfast, accidentally spills cream of wheat into buttermilk pancake batter. Undaunted, Cliff eats the results. He's delighted at the down-home taste and light, crispy texture. Cliff presents his findings to IHOP. The world rejoices.
Actually, it's a lot easier to let IHOP make breakfast.
Just $2.99. That's $2.99 for delicious country griddle cakes combo. 2 eggs, 2 bacon or sausage, and 2 new country griddle cakes, only $2.99. At your IHOP now.
Dallas Children's Theater kicks off its 10th anniversary season with Ramona Quimby by beloved children's author Beverly Cleary. September 10 through 26th, El Centro College Theater. Family entertainment for all ages. Call 978-0110 for tickets. That's 978-0110.
Hi, I'm Kim Keeler, inviting you to join Channel 4 for Color Fall Dallas at the Dallas Arboretum, October 2nd through the 24th. Call 327-8263.
Welcome back. We're talking with James Earl Jones. I really enjoyed that movie. I mean, it was very intense. I'd like to know, what was the first movie you saw as a child?
I don't know the title of it. There was a movie shown on a sheet, a bed sheet, stretched between 2 stores. One store sold pop, the other sold popcorn. It became known as like the drive-in, you know, but it was the walk-in. It was a rural Mississippi, you know, I mean, not rural, it was the town, the county seat, Coldwater.
I'm looking at the title of your book, Voices and Silences. The silence part goes back to something traumatic that happened to you at age 6. Would you please tell us about that?
Before I do, I want to explain about this movie, though.
Yes. Oh, you want to tell us about this movie?
Well, the title of which I can't remember.
Okay.
But what was unusual for me was that, like here, people gathered and sat in the dark watching a thing. That was a phenomenon to me, you know. And I think it affected me for the rest of my life and eventually career. That people, human beings, can sit in a huddle, in a crowd, and watch a thing. And we've all been around campfires.
Right.
And heard someone tell a ghost story or a good adventure story of how I killed the bear didn't kill me. That's been going on since man was, even before he talked.
Your grandmother told you a lot of stories as a child?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She a good
Her
storyteller?
stories were like how I killed the bear didn't kill me. It was stories of hurricanes and floods, because it was Mississippi, lynchings, rapes, murder, which she witnessed in her own family, you know. But those were our bedtime stories.
How could you sleep after that?
Oh, you got used to it.
Yeah.
And it was Grandma. Grandma was a bit unusual, a bit different, you know.
In what way?
Well, she was crazy. And I've been chastised for saying that. She was nuts. You know.
Why do you say that?
She was crazy, yeah. She was, you know, look at any trauma. This woman witnessed the murder of her stepfather by her mother and her youngest sister, who had been molested by this man. They enticed him to get under a car, and they pulled the jack out and killed him. The sheriff came out, again, rural Mississippi. The sheriff came out and they declared it an accident. That didn't absolve the family from having committed murder. They had to live with that. You know. My mother, although she didn't have a hand in it, watched it, witnessed it, you know.
And she lived with it for a long time.
This is also, yes, also a woman who would have been able to make a deal with Adolf Hitler if he'd bombed Mississippi first. She's quite serious about that.
She didn't like her experience in the South?
No. And Papa was just not the opposite, but Papa had a whole another way of dealing with it. Papa was a very gentle man.
Yeah, you described that, but she was a fighter.
Racist. She was a fighter, yeah. But she also instilled us with racism, which he did not do.
Yeah. You say he didn't see things from a racial way, but you say that she saw things, everything from a racial perspective.
Oh, yeah. She sounded like Al Sharpton, you know.
Okay,
And crazier than Al.
Crazier. We're glad to know that, all right. Now, tell us the traumatic move from where you were to Michigan and the impact that had on you.
I didn't understand it until in my 40s, my early 40s, there was a family reunion, and I begged my father to go with me because I didn't know how to act among Mississippians and among, you know, a world that yes, was changing, but I didn't know how to act, so he did go with me. And at this family gathering, we went across the state line into Mississippi, and when we hit the homestead, I felt a wash of emotion over me, and it was love. I realized that I loved the land, in spite of what you might say about that state and about that society. I loved that land. Then I realized what I had been torn from, a land that I loved, and I didn't mind Michigan, but that move at the age of 4.5 from Mississippi, which should have been a jubilant journey from segregation to freedom, another kind of freedom, somewhat, should have been, for me, was a trauma. And from that point on, when I didn't begin my schooling until we got to Michigan. By the time, no, I was a stutterer. That was a manifestation of the trauma.
You started stuttering at that time. What was the most embarrassing moment you ever had in school dealing with that?
At school?
Yes.
They understood it right away. There was another stutterer. There was a child. Once I was in the upper grades, you know, I was the only kid in my class, but I had advanced up through the grades, and there was another kid in about the 3rd grade who stuttered, and the teacher, who I adored, didn't understand it, and she shook him one day. And it wasn't that it embarrassed me, it upset me that she didn't have the patience to work with him, you know.
Yeah. So how did that affect you? I mean, did you talk to people being conscious of the way that you stuttered, or what way did it affect your personality?
I use the phrase mute. Of course I talked some. I talked all the time to the animals, the dog especially, because there was no confrontation there. But with human beings, with strangers, I always stuttered so badly that it was embarrassing and frustrating, and I just, you know, sip. Once I had an uncle who I'll read about later, I hope, Randolph Connolly. We called him Duke. He had an early epileptic problem, and one day he just went into what we call the fits. Maggie had a way of treating it, But as she put a thimble full of bluing down his mouth, she asked me to run to the mile or so to the nearest open road. This was winter, and the snow was about 4 feet deep. Put on my snowshoes and go to find some way to get a doctor. And I got to the nearest store, like a trading post, you might call it. And I couldn't get it out. I couldn't get the problem out. And that was scary, that my uncle's life might depend on my being able to communicate, and here I was failing. You know?
So what happened?
Well, the storekeeper, Frank Fotelka, he understood what was going on. He said, sit down and, first of all, relax, and then try to tell me. And the time is ticking away, and I finally relaxed enough to say, Randolph needs a doctor.
How many years were you mute?
I guess I was about 8.
On 8 years?
Yeah.
I would like to know, when we come back, how you came out of that, what happened that changed your life, that enabled you to begin to go on to master the spoken word, right after these words.
Playing with cars is something some kids never outgrow. Frank couldn't wait to get Bobby an RC car. You know, the ones with the controllers? I said, isn't he a little young?
Oh, it's from play school.
Yeah. It is different than other RCs. It's really solid. There's just one big button to push, and Bobby loves it. He drives that RC outside, he drives it inside, drives the dog crazy. Gotta hand it to play school, though. They know how to make my guys happy.
Powerful grease releasers. Liquid Cheer with advanced color guard. Grease goes, color stays.
Decker delicious, when it tastes so great, the kids can't wait. It's Decker delicious.
My family just loves Decker lunch meats, and I trust them, because I know Decker always puts a lot of quality in every bite.
Delicious.
When it says Decker.
It's Decker delicious. Decker delicious.
Decker lunch meats are Decker delicious.
A married woman is brutally attacked in a hotel room.
The telephone cord, wrapped it around my neck, and proceeded to strangle me.
She's left for dead.
I didn't think I was going to live. I didn't.
On the next Maury Povich show, this woman goes face to face with the man who tried to kill her.
You are one of the most vile person I have ever met. You will lie about anything, anytime, and anywhere.
On the next Maury.
Today at 4 on Channel 4.
Our special guest today on the Les Brown Show, actor, author James Earl Jones. Titled his book, James Earl Jones, Voices and Silences. You were silent for, so to speak, 8 years, and you say in your book that the silence may have laid the crucial groundwork for your later career. How did it do that?
Yeah, you know, being, having a weak muscle or being denied a way to express yourself, you either find other ways to express yourself or you become very aware of how important it is to overcome what your problem is. I began to write poetry. That was a way, but boys didn't write poetry, right? I was a closet poet. And when I got to high school, I had a teacher, we called him Professor Crouch. He was a full professor who had been teaching. He's an associate of Robert Frost, people like that. And he retired into this farm near Brother in Michigan and realized that there were kids down the road trying to learn Chaucer and stuff, and he couldn't help it. He came back and taught high school. Discovered the poetry, challenged me one day by saying, this poem is so good, not an A, I'm going to challenge you. I think it's plagiarism. To prove you wrote it, get up in front of the class and recite it to us. And I did, and didn't stutter.
And that cracked the silence?
Yeah, that began to crack the silence.
What happened after that?
Well, I spent all my time, all my extracurricular time, not in athletics, but in public speaking. And I'm a very bad debater. I cannot make speeches. I'm glad you can.
But you said that to me earlier. What do you mean by that?
What I haven't overcome is the ability to connect, thought. I have to think twice. It's like speaking through a second language almost. Mm-hmm. Most people, and I don't mean that this is how glibness happens, but they're very facile and can people who can do repartee, that I cannot do. I'm not facile, so therefore I cannot speak extemporaneously except to babble on like I'm doing now.
Now in the book here, the voice, this part of the book, I guess the title, that's where it begins to gain importance. When he helped to crack the silence, mm-hmm. when you started immersing yourself in your own poetry and reading it and noticing that you weren't stuttering?
Yeah, at some point, Penny Niven, who is not here, I guess, but she's backstage, and Robert Stewart, who was then our editor, we decided that the two words, voice and silence, were very important to whatever title this book should be. And we never got any further than that.
But why was it important?
Because it defined my life and my career. Mm-hmm. Silence for my early life and voice for my my career. But we never found the title that would include both words, so we just used the two words.
Right. You describe in the book the first time when your grandfather got wind that you wanted to be an actor. Would you read from your book?
Is there time to read that?
Yes.
Oh,
I would like you to share that with us.
It's a long section, but you can cut it if you have to.
Yes.
We won't cut me off.
With this golden voice, with this golden voice, we won't edit this.
Well, I said, I'm going to be an actor on the stage. All of a sudden, there was a blow. We had not realized that Papa was standing behind the screen door listening. He was still suffering from that image of the irresponsible actor. He did not want to hear that kind of ambition expressed by me. He flew out from behind the screen door, and without a word, gave me a whack on the head. And there was no word spoken in response. But that put a stop to any daydreaming out loud about acting. But deep down, the idea was set in motion. And for a long time, I kept it to myself. I knew better than to bring it up again with Mama and Papa.
We'll be back with more with James Earl Jones, the actor.
Your mama's eyes, your daddy's hands, and your family's favorite spring water. Pure Ozarka, trusted by your grandmother, your great-aunt Harriet, and your great-great-grandpa Tom, and all the cousins back as far as anyone here can remember. Ozarka spring water, trusted by families since 1905. Trust us to make it easy to enjoy pure Ozarka spring water. Just call 1-800-759-6365, and we'll deliver Ozarka straight to your home or office. And if you call now, you'll receive a special bonus, 1 month's free cooler rental, plus 3 free 5-gallon bottles. So call 1-800-759-6365. Now, Ozarka spring water, trusted by families since 1905.
When you buy any of these fine products from Kraft General Foods at Food Lion, you get a lot more than extra low prices. You'll also get the satisfaction of knowing you're helping in the fight against drug abuse. Because your purchase of these products at Food Lion will help support a program that encourages young people to say yes to life, no to drugs. So join Food Lion and Kraft in the fight against drug abuse. Your purchase will make a difference.
Dear Channel 4, when I moved to Dallas several years ago, I had to find a new job, a new place to get a haircut, a new mechanic, even a new news station. Well, it took me 2 strikeouts, but I finally found the best news in town, Channel 4. Becky Oliver's undercover investigations make the difference. I found myself cheering her on as she goes to bat for the average citizen. I hope more people discover Channel 4 News like I did, only sooner. Keep up the good work.
glad you're with us, and we're especially glad James Earl Jones is with us, too.
So am I. My name is John, and I have a question for Mr. Jones. You've always played a dominant, powerful role, and you're very imposing. Have you ever wanted to turn the coin over and do comedy now? Because I think, in my own opinion, I think you'd be successful, tremendous. I think you could win an Emmy on that.
Well, comedy is very difficult. It's much easier to play the serious stuff than it is to play the funny stuff.
Yeah, but you did Meteor Man. Now, that was a different kind of role for you.
I think the hair designer did Meteor Man.
You were very good in Meteor Man. I mean, I enjoyed... See, was that a stretch for you? Did you have fun with that?
I want to thank the gentleman for asking that question, though. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a stretch. The hardest stretch was I don't like rap. And I never will like rap, and I don't apologize for it. And I told Robert Townsend that, I said, I not only cannot do it for you, I hate this stuff. And he said, I tell you what, just look at it this way as an actor. Think of it as caged fury. I said, yeah, even that Neanderthal stuff about caged, yeah, okay. He said, yeah, that's what it's really about. The kids might have forgotten, but when it first started, it was about, I'm angry. Or I'm mad as hell, not going to take it anymore. That kind of anger, rage. He said, just play caged fury for me. I said, okay, I can do that.
You did a good role in that. I mean, I really enjoyed Meteor Man, and I thought your performance really showed your versatility.
I was wondering, was there anyone in particular who inspired you to be an actor?
As much as I've said negative about Maggie, Mama, who was my grandmother, the Cherokee Choctaw black woman. It was her sense of drama, really, that triggered it. Yeah, she told us horror stories at night, but she was the first one to indicate a chink in the armor about my being an actor. She couldn't wait for me to be in some dramas.
Oh.
And she was the first to come over to watch the stuff I even did in summer stock. You know.
Now, you went to University of Michigan looking to pursue a career in medicine. How did you make the transition into drama? I mean,
the Korean War was on. I decided that the pre-med studies was so hard that I'd better decide early, or else I'm going to be shipped out anyway.
Yes.
And so I made the decision to do something I enjoyed for the last 2 years of my life, and that was to go to the drama department. They had girls over there.
What role did Clarabelle Byrd play in
Clarabelle Byrd? Oh, my God. She's still gorgeous, you know. She was my teacher. I see her once in a while. I'll probably see her sometime this fall.
What did she do for you?
She introduced me to, she was a continuation of what Professor Crouch did in high school, to what the next step, introduced me to interpretive poetry, interpretive reading, you know. And it was just a continuation.
We're very fortunate to have her on the telephone talking to us from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hello, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Good. What was your first impression of James Earl Jones' talent?
Hi, Jim. Glad to hear you if I can't see you. Well, I guess I was first aware, I'm sure I was, first aware of Jim at Michigan at auditions for Aristophanes of the Birds. My husband directed it, Bill Halstead. Late in the evening, this handsome black boy in the back of the room raised his hand and said he'd like to read for the barbarian god. Well, he read it. When he was finished, I whispered to Bill, get him to read Epops, the King of the Birds, and this was a leading role, of course. And Bill said, I was just going to. Well, he came back, he read Epops, the King of the Birds, and he played it magnificently. And he was very handsome, and just a few feathers, if you can imagine him now. And a beautiful headdress, but very, very effective. And it wasn't his voice alone. We talk so much about Jim's voice. It is a magnificent voice, but I don't think he deserves much credit for that. God gave him that voice. But he has an evident talent for the interpretation of a role. Now, that's what he did with Epops. Now, later, I worked with him on another show, and I became aware of this over-precise enunciation, which was inappropriate for the role he was playing, and I think, I'm apologizing for it now, I nagged him a bit at it. Now, this is because I've learned only recently that he's been a stutterer. Now, Jim, you tell in your book how you practically stopped talking until your English teacher making you recite that poem you'd written, and I think you said he feared you hadn't actually written it. It must have been pretty good. Well, you opened your mouth, and miraculously the words came. And you went on to win a public speaking award and a college scholarship at the University of Michigan. Now, to that Professor Crouch of that small Michigan high school, thanks. You richly deserve the dedication in voices and silence. Jim's story of his life, on and off stage, as you've already said.
Did you think at that time when you saw him that he would ever become a famous, renowned actor?
No, I don't think so. He wasn't that brilliant. But the fact that Dr. Halstead and I both, on hearing him just for not more than 2 minutes, read that minor part in The Birds, discovering together simultaneously this is something. And it was impressive. I don't think we thought of him being a professional actor, but we just thought he was darn good.
Well, thank you so very much. And we appreciate you.
Clarabelle, and you are still beautiful.
Thank you.
You're gorgeous.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
We'll be back with more with James Earl Jones right after these words.
Country crock churn style. The taste reminds me of Mom's butter on the farm. I loved growing up with that sweet butter taste.
Introducing new churn style sticks. Sweet, buttery taste with fewer calories and no cholesterol.
Not to toot our own horn, but Hershey's Symphony bars are our creamiest, smoothest milk chocolate. Also available with almonds and toffee chips. There'll never be another unfinished Hershey's Symphony. Sounds delicious, doesn't it?
When you want a hot meal without a big deal, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets. When a hungry bunch shows up for lunch, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets, filled with delicious pepperoni pizza, chicken and cheddar, or ham and cheese in a crispy pocket.
When it's late at night and you want a tasty bite, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets.
The hot meal in a pocket.
What are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets.
Try Lean Pockets, too.
Redbird Nissan. It's closeout 93, and no one sells more low-priced Nissans than the Redbird Nissan Clearance Center. 93 Sentras or 93 two-wheel drive trucks. $99 down or $99 a month. If this is your first car or truck, special first-time Clearance Center financing lets you drive it away today. The Center. So take I-20 to Camp Wisdom Road in Duncanville to the Redbird Nissan Clearance Center. Because if you don't drive here, you can't save here. That's right.
A safer landing or an accident waiting to happen. I'm Dale Shornack. Today on News 4 Texas, beginning at 5 o'clock. Is there trouble in the air for a new radar system at DFW? We'll tell you why some air traffic controllers say it could be a $6 million mistake. And the woman millions of Americans wake up to could be the target of a deranged fan. A shocking story that's got Kathy Lee Gifford fearing for her life. Plus, you can stay at the hotel voted best in the world and never leave North Texas. We'll check in on News 4 Texas beginning at 5 o'clock.
Jealousy getting in the way of a great friendship? If you have a best friend who is also a rival, call and tell the Les Brown Show about it at 1-800-291-25. Our special guest today on the Les Brown Show, the distinguished actor and now author of Voices and Silences, Mr. James Earl Jones. I came to New York to see Fences. It was a powerful Broadway play. Do you find it more challenging or enjoyable to do stage or movies?
I don't have a preference. It's just that I got my training in the theater, and I'm new to film and television. But I like them all. But a play like that, I wouldn't want to do that every year. I wouldn't want to find one of those gems every year.
Yes. That was very demanding.
Every 20 years is enough for me.
But did you find it very demanding on you?
Yeah. In the audience as well. I mean, I'm glad you were part of that audience, but around that moment, the screw turns, and the audience sees him for all of his clay feet, and they don't like him anymore. And women in the audience, black women in particular, black women who have been misused and mistreated themselves in particular, and those who come in groups say, you know, they say, we're not buying this. Yeah. We like the dude in the first act. Now he turns on us. I mean, they took it very personally.
Yeah, I knew someone to wait on you in the parking lot. Yeah. Now, you know what I was surprised? That they selected your good friend, Billy D. Williams, to take your place. Because I never saw him playing that kind of role. I mean, that's a rough role. That's a strong role. And I find him must be a more suave guy, sweeter guy. Explain that one to me.
Billy has an unusual career. I've re-fallen in love with him, having worked with him in Percy and Thunder. But he started out, he was a protege of the Jimmy Dean idea, if not of Jimmy Dean himself. And very serious. He did play Taste of Honey. He was a very heavy-duty actor. And then the bottom fell out of opportunities, which it does for all of us, you know. And he went into, I think, music for a while, and that's where he started his painting. And then he came back as, you know, the Black Clark Gable. And I was very happy that he took over that role, because he was like his return to the, you know, the salty stuff.
Have your stuttering affected your self-esteem in any point in your life?
Has my what?
Your stuttering.
Stuttering?
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to say something about stuttering. Are you a stutterer? No?
No.
You're lucky. But at the same time, though, in spite of the fact that recently in New York City, a stutterer apparently freaked out because he was afraid of a bad evaluation from his supervisor and killed some people, including himself. Is that recently? This is true? Yeah. Stuttering. In spite of that serious note, stutterers are very funny. And I know it's politically incorrect to say this, but when the kids laughed at me when I was reciting my Sunday school, the kids in the back row laughed at me. I understood that. It is funny. It's just ridiculously funny. But for the stutterers, it's also very painful. You know, so,
I have a friend who has taken advantage of stuttering. She doesn't want to learn how to speak fluently, as I was telling you, and she sells Bibles sometimes and different books, and she'll start reading something from it, just stuttering for a long time, and she'd say, would you like to buy? And the person said no. She said, well, let me read it to you again. They said, no, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yes, Mr. Jones, I wanted to know, you said that you're still a stutterer. And I want to know, is there anything that you have to do, any mechanics that you have to work on a daily or hourly or even an ongoing basis to keep the stuttering under control?
No, once I realized there was a way to get around it, I preferred just to do that. Stutterers are often thought of as being considerate and slow thinking and, you know, what's all this? People. But we're not. We're just simply searching for the word we can say. You know, we're not any deeper thinking than anybody else. And I prefer to approach it that way daily. You know, I'm still a stutterer.
Mr. Jones, your story is one of true courage and inspiration. I wondered if you thought it was more difficult for our children today to attain their goals than it was for you. You overcame a lot of obstacles. What about our kids today?
They have, you know, I got mugged for the first time in St. Louis at the age of 14, and I didn't know what it was. I went home and got some more money. And got mugged again, and they kept mugging me, and I realized, but they weren't hurting me. Today, kids confront all kinds of deadly force out there. The same incident that I went through repeatedly all day because I wanted to go to the movies, a kid today would be dead over. And the same is, the escalation is in every way, whether it's dealing with education, violence, or whatever. Life is just harder for kids, and that's why kids, the producer has a kid who likes Nintendo like my son, and it worries us. But they take that stuff in by osmosis. They know how to operate these cameras almost by osmosis, because nature has said to them, it's moving fast, you got to catch up. Now, there are some kids that don't want to bother to catch up, and that's where the tragedies happen, people who fall through the cracks.
Yeah. We'll be back with more with the great actor James Earl Jones right after these words.
whatever reasons you had for not getting cable TV. Starting now, you just ran out of them. Because cable TV brings you late-breaking news, 24-hour weather, sports, kids shows, music videos, comedy, knockout entertainment 7 days a week, plus Showtime, HBO, the Movie Channel, and Cinemax. Call now and installation's just $9.95. Tune into Showtime for spectacular blockbuster movies, A Few Good Men, Death Becomes Her, and exclusive engagements. Don't miss HBO's huge box office hits, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Last of the Mohicans, big names and special events. The Movie Channel has non-stop entertainment action. Sister Act, The Player, Sneakers, Honeymoon in Vegas. Cinemax has sensational movies around the clock. Under Siege, South Central, Singles, Bob Roberts. Now you've got all the reasons to call 1-800-230-2244 and get installation for just $9.95. Plus any 2 premium channels for the price of 1 for 1 month. Call 1-800-230-2244 now.
This year, thousands of children will be sent home from school with head lice. Be ready with Nix. Only Nix kills lice and their eggs and keeps protecting your children against reinfestation. Nix, the one you only have to use once.
Some stores want you to believe that you really have to give up selection and sales help to get low prices, or that you have to pay a membership fee to save money. Well, it's just not true. At Circuit City, we guarantee to beat any price from any other store, any membership club, anybody. So if you want great selection, friendly advice, and always the low price guaranteed, welcome to Circuit City.
Welcome to Circuit City, where service is state of the art.
We're back talking with the great actor James Earl Jones.
I was just wondering, what is your current project, what you're currently working on?
Actors never know. That's one of the things that bothered my grandfather. I just finished the Brennan Johns story, the full version. And I might do Tom Clancy's, third story. Admiral Greer's in it, and I hope I do it. But we never know.
I was wondering, what do you consider your greatest accomplishment in your career and biggest disappointment?
My greatest accomplishment? I worked with Lou Gossett once in the pilot for Gabriel's Fire. And Lou, who was also 60 at that time, said, you know what's really amazing is that at 60 we're still at it. We're still doing it. And I said, you know, Lou, it doesn't matter what we've achieved except that we're still at it. That is the amazing thing. That's my greatest accomplishment. I still like doing it, acting, and I will do it until I go deaf or blind or can't walk anymore.
Do you envision ever directing, or have you done any directing at all?
Tried that. It's very difficult. Very, very difficult.
What about producing?
That's probably less difficult.
Yeah. What did you think of the production of Malcolm X by Spike Lee? You mentioned.
I've not yet seen it.
Huh?
I've not yet seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Oh, no. On my agenda is Bobby Fischer's next, because my son wants to take me to see that. And I don't get out to see movies that often.
What is it in your mind that separates a great, naturally gifted actor from all other actors?
Oscar Werner, who was a German actor who's done a lot of American movies, probably shortly after my generation, once said that a good actor can read a script and you get a character. A great actor can read that script and that is in performance. You get the same character, but as if you saw him walk down the street. He brings him so much to life, you know.
I wonder, when you give a performance and you read a review by a critic that really tear you down, does that affect you? First of all, do you read your reviews?
Sure it affects you. No, I don't read them. Not anymore.
But you used to?
Mm-hmm.
And what stopped you? A bad review?
Advice by a fellow actor. He said, we were doing Athol Fugard's The Blood Knot, J.D. Cannon. And J.D. said, Jimmy, I want to ask you a favor. When the reviews come out, don't mention them to me, please. I said, why not? He said, I can't. He said, if they're good, your head goes this way. If they're bad, your head goes this way. And neither shape or your misshaping of your head is going to help the performance. And I said, I understand that. I not only won't tell you, I won't read them either. And I have not since. They are valuable. I don't put critics down.
Theirs is an art form too. And if they're good, they contribute greatly to the theater and to the entertainment industry. But I save them until after the work is over, so they will not make my head go this way or this way.
We'll be back with more with James Earl Jones after these words.
No, honey, I did not try the new sinus medicine you packed because all of this pressure and congestion, again, nothing ever seems to help. Hon, I have sinus stuff. Oh, it's Dayquil sinus.
New Vicks Dayquil Sinus Pressure and Congestion has the same two medicines found in the #1 sinus prescription brand.
Two medicines?
New Dayquil Sinus Pressure and Congestion. The anytime non-drowsy congestion stuffy head sinus pressure so you can breathe easier medicine.
I always did like breathing.
Also sinus pressure and pain formula.
What's all the noise about? New Yoplait Crunchin' Yogurt. You mix it, you crunch it. 99% fat-free. Sound satisfying? Yoplait Crunchin' Yogurt. Do it for you.
Dieters have different needs, so Accutrim made different formulas.
My appetite was humongous before Accutrim Maximum Strength.
I would lose my willpower after 3 p.m. until late day.
If it weren't for 16 Hour, I'd eat all day and all night.
Accutrim, one is right for you.
After a whole summer of kids and company, Dalworth has some great news for your carpet. It's our blockbuster back-to-school special. Call 267-8433 and save 50%. That's right. Have 5 rooms cleaned, book the cleaning 5 days in advance, and save 50%. This is our lowest price ever. 50% off the best carpet cleaning money can buy. So call now.
Call 267-8433 because the next best thing to do is Dalworth Clean.
Look, we're not really identical. We have different tastes. That's why we go to Glamour Shots, high fashion photography. You can get a glamorous makeover or go with the natural look. You can choose 4 outfits from their great wardrobe or wear your own clothes. With all these choices and 16 poses, you can get terrific pictures that are uniquely you. After all, you don't want to look identical to someone else.
This week, call with a friend and make 2 appointments for half price, just $14.95 each. Glamour Shots, it's more than just photography.
Glamour Shots.
The great actor James Earl Jones. I don't care what you say. I love that movie, and I loved what you did in it.
That's where the Irish in me won out, you know. Just be silly. Just go ahead and be silly.
Yeah, and you did it. I mean, it was first of all, for you, a man of your magnitude in the industry, to give a director like Robert Thompson an opportunity to showcase you and his movie. That meant a lot, that you haven't forgot the bridge in which you came over, and it must have been hard and difficult for you when you started out in 1960 as an actor. Was it rough for you?
Oh, yeah, but that's not the point, you know. You know it's rough. My dad said to me, I have not, quote, I have not been able to make a living in this business, unquote. Now go and take your chances.
You know? And you've been taking your chances. Have you been loving it?
Oh, totally, yes. And also very proud of most of it, yes.
You mentioned about your Choctaw background and what your grandmother taught you. So I wanted to hear a little bit more about your Indian tradition and what you remember about it.
It's a wonderful question. But what's curious is I'm able to find out more about the African side of my family, even the Irish side of my family, than I can about the Cherokee Choctaw. And the Cherokees had a written language. Yeah. But it has been, in that part of the country, it was so obliterated, whatever information that might have been available is so now unavailable. And I can't explain all the sociological reasons for that, but it's very interesting. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Jones, I wanted to ask you what you could recommend, and I don't know that there's any one thing. I've worked with children for a child who stutters, or even an adult who still stutters, if you have any recommendations.
Nora might, but I really don't. And I accept it, that I will always be a stutterer. I've been involved with Annie Glenn, John Glenn's wife, had started a foundation about that deals with impairments, not only speech, but hearing and so on. And I can be a part of those groups, but I haven't really explored it in terms of the new science and the new education about it.
I will certainly be sharing your experiences with people, and I'm sure they'll, because I want to say,
about you, because when, you know, a giant, I've never dreamed that James Earl Jones, the greatest voice, ever stuttered. And thank you for sharing it.
Yeah. We'll be back with more after these words.
A woman is beaten and stabbed by her husband's friends. Somehow she survives. Her attacker is trying to get out of jail. She's fighting to keep him behind bars. Next.
Whatever reasons you had for not getting cable TV, starting now, you just ran out of them. Because cable TV brings you late-breaking news, 24-hour weather, sports, kids shows, music videos, comedy, knockout entertainment 7 days a week, plus Showtime, HBO, the Movie Channel, and Cinemax. Call now and installation's just $9.95. Tune into Showtime for spectacular blockbuster movies, A Few Good Men, Death Becomes Her, and exclusive engagements. Don't miss HBO's huge box office hits, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Last of the Mohicans, big names and special events. The Movie Channel has non-stop entertainment action. Sister Act, The Player, Sneakers, Honeymoon in Vegas. Cinemax has sensational movies around the clock. Under Siege, South Central, Singles, Bob Roberts. Now you've got all the reasons to call 1-800-230-2244 and get installation for just $9.95. Plus any 2 premium channels for the price of 1 for 1 month. Call 1-800-230-2244 now.
Check this out. Bally's is offering our pay-as-you-go program at the low enrollment fee of $49 for an alternate day plan. Once you join, pay only $15 a month for as long as you want. No outrageous membership fees, no long-term commitments. Just $15 a month for aerobics, swimming, jogging, and the most advanced equipment available, like our 30-minute workout program. Join Bally's pay-as-you-go program now. An offer like this won't last forever. Call 1-800-937-1772.
Dinner time. It's when the day is discussed and life's enormous problems shared.
I couldn't believe it. So embarrassing, Mom.
It's the most important part of the day, but there's never enough time for it. So why not make it easier with rice-a-roni, your family's favorite? It's right there in the cupboard. May we join you for dinner tonight?
The San Francisco.
Windshield wipers.
It was very much like World War III.
See how you can make your step-families work. Watch the next Les Brown Show. We've been talking with the great actor James Earl Jones, whose voice is a great American treasure, and who, ironically, lost his voice because of traumatic experience in his childhood. And a high school teacher cracked the silence that allowed him to bring out his greatness. Somebody once wrote that many a flower has bloomed unceasingly and wasted sweetness upon the cold desert air, which means a lot of talented and gifted persons have gone unnoticed, and the world never had a chance to expose themselves to his talent. Listen, don't hold your talent in. Bring it out here. This is Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy, Leslie Calvin Brown, saying thank you, and I'll see you next time.